There it is.
Hello everyone. Here we have Boeckle Brothers, the king of luxury flipping in US. They have just flipped more than 300 homes. Average price is $1 million. It'll be crazy nuts. We'll have a lot of knowledge here. They have just flipped more than 300 homes. Average price is $1 million. Hold on, there's some lag. Hold on guys. Okay, I think it got live on my system also. There you go. Now it's better. Sorry for that. So yes, so before any further ado, I'll ask Boeckle Brothers, Jesse and Landon to start with this. Jesse and Landon, welcome to our live podcast. How you guys are feeling about it?
Amazing.
Awesome.
I'm very happy and
Thanks for having us on today.
So the first question, that's a very basic question that even came into my mind also when I saw your profile. How come, what is this luxury flipping? Like what is so special about luxury flipping you guys are doing?
So there's a lot that's special about it. I find it would be hard to cover
all the positive aspects that we love about it in one call. But just to summarize it, when we decided to venture into more luxury homes, we found that we have a better quality buyer at the end of the day. This is somebody who really understands money and has more of it, just to be frank. We also have more budgets, so we have more leeway to choose nicer materials, to do a nicer design, and that ends up being a little bit more fun because you're not always constrained with a very tight budget. And so those are the two things that come right to my mind that we really enjoy from luxury. So you have another one?
Yeah, we love designing. We love the aspect of the higher price points, the savvier buyers. But also what we really enjoy about the luxury flip game is, one, there's less competition in the marketplace to actually buy these type of products. Most investors can't afford or don't have the financing terms to buy $1 million plus properties.
That's true.
So the competition's a lot lower in the marketplace for us to compete against. And the margins happen to be quite a bit higher than the standard, 500,000 or less price point as well, which, hey, bigger profits, bigger deals, better buyers. That's a game we like to play.
So I can completely relate to that. So this means less competition, more choice for you, and obviously luxury buyers to work with. So that's quite interesting. And when all those things happen, like when Jesse and Landon thought about why not we start with flipping? Can you go into background, because we have many people watching you now. They want to get into nitty gritties. What was the motivation factor for you when you guys started? It was luxury itself. How come this? You start with all those processes. What was the triggering point for you to start with this?
Yeah, we didn't start with the luxury mindset or luxury price point. We started flipping homes back in 2016.
Okay.
And we started just like most other beginning investors start, buying the 200,000 or less price point,
Small homes.
small cookie cutter homes that were extremely distressed, or the sellers were in some sort of financial position and the homes just weren't in the best condition. And we did hundreds of those properties before finally building up our skill set and our knowledge base with constructions, how to purchase, how to analyze deals, really learning the market. It took us 3-4 years before we were finally able to step into that luxury space. So we put in the work.
And it honestly wasn't one decision overnight, hey, let's do this. We actually had done so many of those homes and had realized that when we looked at our business, let's say 2018, 2019, hey, a few of those homes that were a little more expensive. So like he said, we did the $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 homes, but we did one that was 600. Then we did one that was like 7 or 8. And then so we looked back on that and go, wow, we actually got to do a lot more design and we made more money on those homes. Why don't we try to go find a few more of those? And then so we did that, and then we might have did 6 or 7 more close to the $1 million price point. I think we just crested that $1 million price point with this sort of experiment. And then that caused us to look back and say, okay, that was a great decision. Why don't we go double down on that? and actually focus on luxury homes, increase the price point maybe even more. And so it was something where we tested the water, we measured it, and then based on the results, once we saw them, we decided, yes, this is something we should actually put a focus on and put intention on instead of just letting it happen. And that's how we kind of steered our business towards the luxury market, was based on experimenting and reaping better rewards from
Right.
those, and then going full force.
And building the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it took hundreds of homes to build the confidence to go take that leap to buy that high price point home. So
Okay, that's crazy, right? So what is happening for in your life as of now? Are you still into luxury flipping? How many homes you do on a day-to-day basis? Like what you are up to these days?
Sure. So yes, we're definitely flipping more luxury homes than we ever thought that we would.
that's all we own.
I think every home in our inventory is at least reselling over $1 million.
Mhm.
So we still purchase some that are 7, 8, 900,000, but all of our resale, our ARVs, are above $1 million. And when everything is churning, everyone's working hard, the business is healthy, we can hold about 20 to 25 of those projects in inventory at any given time.
Wow. hmm So that's crazy. Actually, it's crazy numbers to win. So before like we dig deeper into that, like how many people you have in your support staff? Like I can scale the scalability as like 20 homes or 25 homes. That also on a luxury side.
Mhm.
Like what are the core members you have in your team?
Yeah. So it's actually a pretty lean team that we run here. We have an acquisitions manager that submits all the offer and locks up all the properties. So that's one person. He's
Okay.
submitting about 20, 25 offers a day, 7 days
Oh,
a week.
wow.
He works every day. He's crazy.
Yeah.
We have an office controller who does all the admin of the office, invoicing, vendors, checks, wiring, escrows. She really controls the entire office, ins and outs. We have our project manager who does manage all the projects. Now, that project manager, he's not actively working on the properties. He's managing 3, 4, 5 general contractors who own their own companies.
And they do the work.
So he's just really touching base and managing the GCs on each property. So
Okay.
we have one project manager, and then we have a listing agent who lists and sells all the properties.
So we have those core members starting from the acquisition, the management side, and obviously you are part of the real estate.
Mhm.
So what about any beginner, like just the basics of it, when you started in 16, 17 era? So what are the basics, tips and tricks you have if somebody wants to start those flipping side? It's okay, it's luxury flipping. You also started small and then you expanded to a huge team. Like what are the core nuggets, like the golden nuggets you want to share from your experience?
One of the best things I love telling people this is when they want to get started, they're interested, they have the drive, the motivation, they just don't know where to look for properties, because a lot of free information, and I mean videos, YouTube, things you can find online,
Yes.
I find that it really directs people towards direct to seller marketing
Wholesaling.
and wholesaling.
Mhm.
And
hmm
unfortunately, when you're just starting out, you probably don't have a whole lot of money to invest. You might have a little to get started. But if you just get started with a little as a wholesaler, it's a long road, and you're competing with other people the first day you start who are spending tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars in marketing to try
Okay.
and find that seller. Our biggest advantage is that we don't have a marketing budget. It's actually zero. We don't market at all for our homes. We use the MLS. So almost every flip that we've ever bought is a listed property active on the MLS. Now, we have bought
Wow.
from some wholesalers in our network and things
Mhm.
like that come our way, but the vast majority are all found on the MLS, and all that costs you is maybe $1,000 a year to be a realtor.
That's a very precious thing you are sharing. A lot of people try multiple things, they run after all those things, but that's a golden nugget you have shared. I would say MLS is the key source when you're starting with that. It's surprising that you're still on that platform. All your deals are flowing through that. So Are you licensed real estate agents also on the side?
We
Yes.
are. So yeah, we actually run and operate a full service real estate brokerage. So we have over
Oh, wow.
35 agents with our company, but we're licensed as well.
Oh, that's good, right? So you have some sort of operating business, and on the side you have the flipping. Obviously, for you, I believe the flipping is still a operating business. So
Oh, yeah.
what is a typical tenure? Like, let's say you looked at one property. What are the timelines you're looking into? I know it's very time sensitive thing. Flipping, it's a lot of money involved. So what are your timelines when you start a flip, and then anything you want to share about it?
Sure.
It's changed quite a bit recently. Obviously, I think not only the US, but most
Hmm.
countries out there have seen a shift in the markets, and
Slowing down.
you could tell us about your market here in a second, but at least here we've seen quite a bit of slowdown. So
Yes.
typically construction, from purchase, construction should take anywhere between 60 and 90 days to complete on these higher end
Okay.
properties. So
Hmm.
we have about 3 months of construction. We were only utilizing a 30-day hold for the resale of the property. But now the average days on market are anywhere between 60 and 90 days. So we're
Hmm.
adding 2 to 3 months. So when we go and calculate the viability of a deal, we're going from 4 to 5 month hold times now to 7 to 9 month hold times. So we're extending those quite a bit for this new market.
And those are all our estimates. So we want to make sure we budget and set aside enough money for those maximum amount of time. So we're not upset if it does take that long to sell. We budgeted that in the deal. But when it comes to timelines, there are some things that you can't control, right? You can't control the
Yes. Yeah.
market
Right.
to make it
Mhm.
sell in 30 days. You can control your construction to some respect because contractors are hard to work with and they tend to overpromise and underdeliver. But that's just the nature of the
Right.
construction business.
Yes, it
Materials
is.
with logistics and
Mhm.
supply chain's just been a nightmare with getting materials on time. So, you have some items like a sliding glass door that's 10 to 16 weeks to be installed. That's a very long time to wait on something
Mhm.
that truly is a crucial component to the flip too.
But I was just going to say some of the things that you can control, I feel like we're really good at. And that's where people should learn from us. When we initially get a contract accepted, there's a
Yes.
pivotal amount of time, your due diligence, where you have to
Mm.
bid the property, understand the rehab, if it's going to work, if it's not, is it in the budget, is it not? Do we agree on the sales price or do we not? So we have to gather a bunch of information really quickly right after the contract is signed. And I feel like that's one of our strengths. So our construction manager is out to the house the next day after contract signed. We get a bid back from the contractor in another day or two. So within 36 hours, we should have all the information we need to make a patient, accurate decision. And then if we decide to buy it, we try to manage expectations and keep the construction in line with respect to some of those things we can't control. But everything that we can control, we try to keep as tight as possible.
Especially in this.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a crazy market. Everything is changing. It's a worldwide thing we can't control.
Right.
So you say it's 7 to 8 months. I have a question here. Like, what is your key selling strategy, and how much profit do you estimate for each property?
Yeah,
So let's say market is changing, right? Yeah.
we just changed that last week completely. So our new buy box is very specific. And like Jesse said,
Yeah.
it's got to be super dialed in now more than ever. 3, 4, 5 months ago, we go a little bit outside our buy box because everything was making so much money and things were selling within one day and nothing mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Now our
Mm-hmm.
new buy box is very specific. And we've actually had a couple properties come through recently this last week that we're saying no to because they just don't hit the exact numbers. So to answer the
Mm-hmm.
question, 7 to 9 months is what we're using for hold time from purchase to resale. Our selling strategy right now is to look at under contracts or even competition that's still active on the market. Now, in past, you would only use sales as your comparables, as your comps. But
Mm-hmm.
sales are moving so quickly, price decreases are moving so quickly that we're really looking at what's our immediate competition looking like.
Mm-hmm.
And we're taking 10% off the ARV or after repair value or market value when the property is done. we're taking 10% off that right from the top. So if it's a $500,000 house, we're using 450 resale value right away. We're using the 7 to 9 month hold, and we're making sure that, like Jesse said, our system with construction is we have a turnkey scope of work from our contractor before we're out of due diligence on it. So that number does not move from the day we buy it to the day it's finished.
And so our selling strategy, this is something that, to be honest, takes place before we ever put the house up for sale. And that is when we go and flip a property, we tend to consider ourselves as over upgraders. So we don't go in and say, what can I get away with here? Can I keep the floors? Can I keep the cabinets? Can I just paint the house? We go in every time and we send offers and bids according to this, where we will upgrade everything in the house. Even if it's nice, we will take the cabinets out, the counters out, the floors out, the showers out, everything. Every single one of our flip properties is a complete remodel. Now, we don't always rebuild the house. We don't always do structural elements, but new showers, new kitchens, new flooring, new counters, cabinets, base fixtures, everything you can see, feel, and touch in that house is new. And that's one of our selling strategies. If inventory is really tight, then that's great. We'll sell fast because we have one of the nicest products. So everyone's going to want that. If inventory's much higher, then we still have one of the nicest properties, even amongst a bunch of other listings. So ours theoretically should sell first because everyone wants the nicest house that they can buy. And it should sell for more because it is higher quality than anything else that's available.
Yeah. A lot of people ask us, in this market, have you guys pulled back on your construction budgets? And our response is no, we've actually put more into construction than we did before. Even in a hot market, we're putting more into construction because we want to be the best product that's on the market.
And then to the second part, how much profit do you estimate on each property? So when we send an offer, the goal is to have all the numbers calculate close to a 10% return, a 10% ROI, cash on cash deal. And what ends up happening is maybe things go wrong or we add some things, and that ends up being like 7 or 8%. And that's for most of our average deals. That's what we shoot for, is about a 10% return.
Okay, that's a good number to look into. So you already talked about that your deals are flowing from MLS, you have the system. So the key thing which comes into my mind is you have so many like flips going on. So where is this funding injected? Somebody who's new to the system, obviously it's okay, they got the deal, but the money is a problem. That's people which is holding people back and triggering into and stepping into the flipping business. What are your thoughts on that?
Of course. And that's always the biggest question that almost everyone asks us is, well, I might be able to find a deal, but what do I do with it? I don't have the money to buy it.
I have no money.
The truth of the matter is, even if you're brand new, never done a deal before, if you have a good deal and you go to a hard money lender, they'll do that deal with you because it's a good deal. Money usually finds the good deal. It's really not the other way around. You don't always have to find a good deal and then figure out how to find money. If you find a good deal and post on social media, you'll find somebody who wants to do that deal with you, who will fund it. For us, we started with private money. So it was somebody that we knew and trusted. They trusted us, and they let us go start very slowly on the smaller homes and do very few of them. But as our business grew, they simply weren't big enough to handle all the volume. So we've grown to now we have 2 different private money lenders with different terms. We have 2 to 3 different hard money lenders, and they all have different terms. So our job on a case-by-case basis is to take incoming contracts and decide where they're best bought. So who should I buy this with? What money should we use? And what will make us the most return based on each lender?
And for those beginners just starting out, when we started out, we didn't have any money either. So we had the private money lender, and those terms weren't the most favorable terms on earth for us. I think we started out at a 70-30 split.
Yeah, we only got 30% at the end of the day
30%
of profit.
So, I mean, we were making, $3 to $6 grand a house net, and then we had to split that 50-50 too between the two of us.
But in a situation where you have no experience, you have no capital, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
We were happy as hell to do it.
I think it's a great thing because they allowed you to get started and build a track record to then go find better terms or renegotiate better terms.
Yeah, and now those same lenders, they still fund us today up to 10 million, 13 million. You know, it fluctuates at times, but it's no less than 10. It's 50-50 now, but they're more apt to funding the bigger deals now. So they'll fund a $2.5 million buy where we can make $1 million on it, that most other hard money lenders or private lenders out there would even fund.
They'll never touch it. Yeah.
We started small. We had a not so fair split to us, but growing into it, building that confidence in the lender. Now we're doing huge deals with them, you know, big profit, multiple 6-figure profit deals with them. And we're using hard money lenders on the side.
Definitely. Yeah. So I can relate to that. Yeah, completely. So it's about learnability initially. It's not about profitability. As you grow, you scale, you learn from that. So that's a good golden nugget. So how you basically, Jesse, Landon, how you divide your work profile? I know both of you are busy and so many things happening. So what are your day-to-day roles looks like when you start your day? How you divide the roles and responsibilities?
Sure. So we're very different, and I think that's always been a great thing. And this is something truly that also changes over time. So when we started out and when we started our business, day one, we opened our doors. There was not anyone else. There was just you and just me. So everything had to either be done by you or by me. And so that split was a lot different than it looks like today because we have staff, we have people that help us out. So now there are things that we don't even do because someone else does. And the remaining things are still split and split even in a different way. So how it looks, I think I end up doing a lot of internal operations. So what that means is we have our admin. And when it comes to money in, money out, submissions, lender approvals, closings, draw funds, because we borrow rehab funds too. So knowing where our money is, what's coming in, what's going out, I tend to do a lot of that stuff with our admin. And Landon tends to coordinate and communicate a lot with our project manager, more about stuff in the field, and as well as our acquisitions, which are homes in the field.
Yeah, I'm pretty close. Personality test a couple of weeks ago again, and there's a maverick and an integrator, and a visionary and an integrator, and that's exactly who we are, which is great, because if I was a visionary and he was a visionary, we'd probably butt heads and not get very far. But being that the visionary is so different than the integrator, we work so well together and get things done and actually execute. So I think that's important for everyone out there who possibly has a partner, is take personality tests and figure out what you are, and make sure that you're working within, the task list or the daily items that fit your personality. Because if you're not, you're really fighting against who you truly are and what you want to be. And I think that's brought a lot to light for us recently, and things are moving faster than ever because of it.
Definitely. So as of now, it's good to know. As of now, as the market have changed, we call it a shift. Obviously, interest rates going up. It's inflation problem. It's a global thing. So have you changed your any key strategies, or do you have any business plan for the future roadmap? Do you see any variances in that? Obviously, when the market was hot, the story was different. So anything about that, or it's like the same focus? We'll do 20 flips. This is our budget. Let's go, guys. What do you have on that?
So we kind of touched on it. We changed the estimates. So how we approach an offer and what those numbers mean. So we've changed that to be more conservative. So taking value off the sales price, just in case it goes down further, adding more months into the hold time, just in case it takes longer to sell. So we've done those things to make ourselves feel a little more conservative, a little more safer with homes that we now go and buy into the future. We're also looking at the shift in a total opportunity sense, like not scared, but how can we make the best of this? We really want to buy a lot more rental units and buy and hold homes. So we're optimistic that we're going to be able to do that in the future more than ever now. So we're not taking the market changing as, oh no, we should hide and this is very dangerous. It's we need to be careful, obviously, and be prepared, but we need to take advantage where we can.
That's a good thought, right? So basically, you are changing your strategy. Obviously, you're looking into buy and hold avenues of it, right? So you have been doing like you have done more than 300 flips. So anybody who is just starting flipping, what you would suggest? What are the key components they should remodel in a home so they can get maximum value out of it?
Great question. That's a great question.
It is. The key areas of a home that you definitely want to focus on, and we actually just filmed some content on this last week with a couple of our flips, is focusing on opening the house up and making it an open, inviting home. Closed off, dark, definitely have to change that right out of the gate. Then you're going to want to focus on the main rooms of the house, your kitchen, your main family room area, and the primary bedroom and bathroom combo. Those are the main rooms that you want to put a majority of your construction dollars into. Outside of that, curb appeal, when someone gets out and looks at a home and walks up to it, it's got to feel new. It's got to look good. It's got to feel like it's been remodeled and you put some thought into it.
And even more to that point too, you sell a house through the front door, you live in a house through your garage door. So at least normally for us. So when you pull up to your house every day, pull into the garage and you walk in, you see something different when you walk in your garage door than when you do in your front door. So that front door experience, you only get one chance at making that the best experience it can be. So that's where the openness, the brightness, the inviting feel needs to be held right there in the front door. And what that means for us is if there's a small wall that's dividing the room, can we take that out if it's not structural to open it up? If it's dark in here, is there some possibility to add windows so that when you walk in, maybe you can see through the house, through the window to your backyard and to your pool? Maybe that gives a better impression than walking in and feeling closed off and dark.
Yeah. Really try to focus on opening the kitchen up to the family room as well. So it's all one entertaining space versus separated spaces. That's something that's been, super important to us to try to design around.
Definitely. So that's again a golden nugget, guys. So we should focus on that. So, what about like how you guys learned about it? I know everybody needs mentorship to scale. Do you guys had any mentors or somebody guiding you? Okay, these are the principles you should follow on flipping. Any thoughts on that you want to share about it?
Yeah, we've
had so many mentors over the last 5 years, 6 years.
Great mentors.
Yeah.
I would say just starting chronologically, both of our dads have been invested in real estate. So they, at least even from afar, have always inspired us to go do this. And when we got started, they were a big help. And they kind of carried us along our first few projects to make sure we were doing the right things in the right amount of time. And then once we started to grow, maybe past their capabilities of helping us, we had to look to other mentors and other influences. So we're actually really close with some other investors in town here in Vegas that essentially they're our competition, but in reality, there's plenty of homes for everyone. There's plenty of opportunity for everyone. So we've found it more advantageous to collaborate with them and ask questions with them and create a relationship so that we can understand what's working for them, what's working for you, what's not, and kind of help each other. So it's other competition actually, where you just had to stop thinking of them as competition and start thinking of them as an asset.
Collaborating with the competition has gotten us so much further over the past 2.5 to 3 years since we started adopting that mindset. It's just really given us the ability to scale our business, learning from those who are moving a little bit faster than us, learning from those doing a little bit more volume than us, raising more money than us. We always looked at them as competition when we first started, but the second we changed our mindset to look at them as mentors and collaborate with them is when they open their mind to helping us do it.
Yeah.
And, that's something that we've really, kind of embraced and want to give back to the people as well. We just started our own mentorship program called the Boeckle Brothers Boot Camp, where we're taking all the lessons that we've learned over the last 6 years, from buying, how to buy, how to manage construction, how to hire and bring in the crucial team members, and we're giving it all back. We want people to avoid the costly mistakes and the timely lessons that we've learned. That's what we really want to do, is give back.
Mhm.
Definitely, it's key motivation for everyone. You learn, you share, you collaborate, right? So, as you shared about the mentorship program, can you elaborate on that? What is that mentorship program? If our viewers want to be part of it, what is in for them, and what is the process for that?
Sure. So essentially, at the core, we're teaching new investors or experienced investors exactly what we do. We don't teach anything that we aren't confident and we don't do on a daily and weekly basis. But what that
Hmm.
is sourcing good investment properties off the MLS, how to do that, how to send offers, how to follow up, how to make that your number one acquisition source. Once you do that,
Hmm.
how to structure deals with either private money, hard money, how to raise private money, how to raise hard money, how to understand the right terms and fund your deals. And then we even connect people with lenders
I
as
was going to
well.
say, one of the cool things we do is in the boot camp, in that call, that weekly call, we're actually going to
Okay.
have two representatives from two different hard money companies come on and connect our students directly with them that day.
So they go into funding. Then we go into construction management, how to make sure you're on top of your properties. They're getting done for the best quality and the best time frame. How to sell them properly, strategies to sell them, how to work with a realtor to find them, how to work with a realtor to sell them, and then how to grow and hire all the components we've hired to make this a real company so that it can
Definitely.
scale and that you can grow. And so what everyone comes in, whether they have no experience or they have a good amount of experience flipping homes, they learn all of those key components and they leave the program with our calculators, with our templates, with potentially $1 million in hard money loans. They leave with a CPA. They leave with crucial components to build a business.
Yeah. And it's a 12-week program.
Definitely.
So just timeline wise, it's quarterly. So our first program actually starts on October 5th uh, for the fourth quarter. So if you want to be a part of it, feel free to drop your information in the chat, and we'll have our team reach out to you
Yeah, at least just for a call.
to set up a call. Would love to talk to anyone in it. But it's a 12-week program. It starts the first week of October. And on the week 12, what we do is we actually bring everyone in the boot camp out to Vegas. You're invited out to Vegas, and we rent two huge charter buses. And we take people with everyone you met on the call, our crucial team, to 3 to 4 of our active flip properties. So properties in construction, properties that we just bought that haven't started yet, properties that are 100% finished and staged. So we do a live in-person mastermind at our flip properties.
So they see everything in practice.
Yeah, that's the key thing actually. You learn by visualizing the thing. To start with, it's always theory is a theory, but you then see person in the hand what they're doing it. It's a learning experience, right? So I have
Yeah.
another question, right? So obviously everybody have their own failures. You have done so many properties. Was there any scenario where you thought like this is a project we're losing money? Like you had those scenarios in your life. How was it?
Oh yeah.
And
Of
how you
course.
overcome that, right?
We've
Yeah.
definitely had those.
Everyone loses money.
We've had, I
Yeah,
will
help
say,
you.
we've had very little of those. So in over 350 flips, I think the real number is we might have lost money on 6 of those, 7 of those, and the
Okay.
majority of those losses are under 10,000 every time. So they're
Yeah.
very manageable. We can absorb those and move on. So we have a very good track record, but I can say that the question in there, yes, we definitely have. And some of those reasons why this home or that home lost us money are lessons that we teach in the boot camp so that people don't repeat those mistakes,
Right.
like vetting a contractor properly to understand if he's capable, if he's licensed, if he's set up to do the work that he says he can do. We've learned that the hard way, and we want to teach people how to do that so that they don't have to.
Definitely. That's a good point. Either you learn yourself or you like learn from somebody who's already successful in
Mhm.
that. So yeah, just to continue on that, what are the like key things when you're starting. It's basically for the beginners who are just into the flipping business. People are hesitant to enter. They say the market is like this, whatever, the market is not stable. It's always like that. Market is, I always say, it goes up, it goes down. What are the key things they should look into that? Obviously, they already have a deal. They might have some money available. What are the key things they should focus on when they are into their first flip? It's sort of a beginner advice.
Yeah. So, like Jesse said, over 350 flips or whatever it is now, we've only lost money on 6 or 8. And that's because we've
Mm-hmm.
always followed the same system and process. And it's, for us, in our minds, a more conservative system and process, but it's allowed us to make money on a majority of the deals we've ever done. So it's not going outside of that box that you create in terms of your system. Before we buy a home, we know exactly what it's going to cost for us to construct that home. And we have all of our numbers dialed in before we buy it, before we're out of due diligence, before we put money at risk. We already have a system in place that should change very, very little throughout the lifetime of that deal.
Can I add a detail to that,
Sure.
not to throw you off? But what that means is we have a utility budget. If it's an HOA, we have an HOA budget. We have an insurance budget. We have a budget for staging, for photography, for literally
Yes.
everything that's going to be charged to that home. We know up front. And
Before
it's
we
still,
buy it.
Before we buy it. And it still makes money at that estimate with all of those things included, then we'll buy it. But that isn't something where we get our rehab bid and then, yeah, I know I'm going to have to spend on photos and all that stuff down the road, but I'll get there when I get there. We have everything to the dollar up front.
Yeah. And
I really
it's
like that
knowing your
approach.
numbers, right? It's knowing your market. We've never been the type to look at, a market that says this home's worth 500,000 and be like, oh, well, we're going to have the best product in the world. We'll list this thing at 550. If the market shows 500,000, we're using 500,000. That's just who we are. That's how we buy. And that's why we've always been able to hit our numbers, hit our list prices. I think over, the 300 plus properties, our sales price to list price ratio is like 97% because we list our properties realistically, conservatively, where we think we could sell them, because we're in the business of moving transactions, moving properties. We don't like to sit on them. We like to move them, make money, get our money back, buy another one, and do it again as fast as possible.
Definitely. So that's a crazy thing. Basically, I really like that approach that your moves is basically backward. You know where you have to achieve, and then you start calculating backward, and it's always your due diligence involved in that. It's like a very optimistic thing. So I feel like it's like more than 350 properties. If the system is there, process is there. What about you guys? Like, do you feel personally bored of it? Like, let's have a new challenge coming up. What is new for you? Or like you feel like every property is unique, every property is different. What are your thoughts on that?
There has been times in the past 5-6 years where we kind of get comfortable and then we end up just moving the goalpost and we just move it again. So when we were doing 10 properties at a time, that felt crazy. But then we did that for 6 months, 12 months, 10 became very easy. And so now can we do 20 at a time? And once we did 20 at a time, okay, well, can we do $20 million properties at a time? And now that we've done a good handful of $1 million properties, we're involved in one of our latest flips that's still under construction that we bought for 2.8. We bought that house higher than we've ever sold a house. So we started off higher. It has the highest rehab budget that we've ever spent in a house, I think by at least twice. And when we go to resell that, we're going to be reselling it hopefully for near $5 million. So that's way bigger than anything we've done before. Mm-hmm. And so we continue to move that level in front of us to what we could achieve. And we've also started to go into another market.
I was going to say that. I was going to say, we've challenged ourselves and we thought about it. This is where the benefit of mentorship and network groups come into play, right? Is we've talked about for years, how do we go do a deal in a different market? We like we like Phoenix, we like Salt Lake City, we like California, we like Florida. How do we do a flip property there? And the concept to us before we joined these network groups and really put networking and mentorship in first position was, man, we're going to have to go there and rebuild our company from scratch.
Start a whole brokerage out
and
there.
start
Yes.
a project manager out
Mhm.
there, get an acquisitions guy out there. But when we flipped the switch and said, who can we get in this market to partner with and do deals with, that's where it became easy. And now we're doing 2 deals in Scottsdale, Arizona that are just being listed this week and look fantastic, by the way. So, you know, we've challenged ourselves with jumping into market number 2. So now it's, well, being that we have such a large network now, how many markets can we go into? Can we be into 10 markets in the next 5 years, flipping 20 homes at a time in 10 different markets, which means we have an inventory of 150 to 200 properties at any given time across the country? It's like, those are thoughts that could be challenging, thought provoking. Like, wow, I can't believe doing this type numbers.
Okay, that's a good thing, right? And there's a question, right? What's the most expensive kitchen you put in a house? Any numbers on that? Obviously, kitchen is the heart of the home, right? What
It
do you
is.
feel like? Let's,
And we do, and
yeah.
we focus on it a lot. It's something that gets a large portion of the overall rehab budget. I would say the one that we're doing right now has to be the most expensive one.
Pine Hollow is pretty good too.
It was, but I would
Probably
say
$75,000 to $100,000 kitchen.
somewhere close to that. Because when we look at a bid, right, we look at it based on either trades or material items. So we have a countertop bid. That's for the whole house. So it's hard to say how much of that, let's say $20,000
Goes to the kitchen.
countertop bid goes just to the kitchen. So we have to kind of do that for everything: plumbing, electrical, cabinets, flooring, counters. But if you take a percentage of all of that and allocate it towards a kitchen, I'd say the one we're doing right now is close to about $100,000 in a kitchen.
Yeah. That's gonna be pretty
That's a big
sweet.
number to win.
Yeah.
That's an
Would love to
800.
see that property.
Yeah, well, it's going to be all over our content, so make sure to follow us at the Boeckle Brothers on TikTok and Instagram. But
Definitely.
it's probably going to end up being closer to like an $850,000 to $900,000 rehab all in. So quite a bit of money.
That's a big number. It's a big number, right? So when
Yeah.
you talk about like, I just very detailed oriented question, like you go on quartz, countertop, backsplash, plumbing, and all those things. Whatever the kitchens is preferred in the luxury flips you are doing, like this, like what have, let's say, wooden or thermofoil, MDF, glossy. What is the basic recommendations you have on that?
Sure. So if you want to make your kitchen feel and look more luxury focused, one thing that would do is to use different color cabinets. It makes it feel more designed, even if you're not using totally handmade custom with some type of really, really nice wood. Even if you just did the ready to assemble cabinets, but you did the island one color and the uppers another color, doing that differentiation makes it feel more stylistic as well. Countertops for sure. We don't use anything in the higher end flips that we do in the lower end. So there's no prefab quartz. There's no granite. There's nothing under that for sure. In the higher end stuff, it's all solid stone. And so it's natural material right out of the ground from a quarry. So we use a lot of quartzite, which is a solid stone, different from quartz. Quartz is pulverized quartz into a man-made stone. This is actual natural slab straight from the earth. So that's something that definitely looks and feels more upgraded, more impressive in a luxury house.
Yeah. And on these, I would say getting to the price point of like 1.8 or higher, people start really eyeballing the appliances as well.
The brand names.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
that's the key thing. Yes.
you know, or like 1.5 or below, we could use, you have to use an upgraded package, of course, larger range, larger fridges, built in, you know, higher end appliances, pull out microwaves, but they could be more generic brands.
And they don't have to match.
And they don't have to match. But when you're working at 1.5 or higher or 2 million or higher, everything's got to match and everything's got to be a name brand. You can't have these cheap, you know, Amazon order or online order appliances. They got to be much more upgraded. So I think in the big house we're talking about, our appliance package is probably going to be like a $30,000 to $40,000 appliance package, I would say.
Yeah, and even on top of that too, we do more creative things in the kitchen. Our largest remodels that we've done, we've actually built secret pantries. So there's a full wall of cabinets and it all looks great, like it's all built-in cabinetry, but you pull one of the doors on a cabinet and the whole panel opens up and you can actually walk into the pantry, but when it's closed, it completely disappears. So something that's creative and unique doesn't necessarily cost an extreme amount more than if we didn't do it, but it's something that requires a lot of thought. And so when a buyer experiences that, it's something unique that they most likely have not seen before.
Definitely. That's just, it's basically looking something different from what is normal, a standard of the market. So you look a luxury flip, but within your budget. That's a good thought about that. So I know you you are busy with the flip, right? So what is your day to day? We asked that question before also. Basically, how you do the time blocking and time management? Like so many things happening. You have a deals, right? Throwing through budgeting and all those things. So how you manage basically the time block for someone who's busy? What are your suggestions on that?
We're trying to get better at it.
It's hard. It's hard. And as you grow,
It's hard for us.
it's never going to be the same, right? Our days 2 years ago looked very different than our days today. But I would say the best thing we've been able to do is not so much time block every hour of the day. It's more day blocking days of the week. And so that's helped us because Monday is a full reconciliation with all the teams. We have a meeting with every managerial team that we have, whether it's in brokerage or in it's flipping homes or it's the education company. Everybody meets on Monday, recoups from last week, plans out this week. So that's Monday. And we're almost done with that today. Now, Tuesday is purely dedicated to construction. Our construction manager will compile all the things that he needs our input on, whether that's in the office or in the field. And we dedicate all day Tuesday to helping him and answering any questions he needs so that the rest of the week he can go execute it and we don't have to look at it. So we dedicate a full day to him. And we've done that with multiple days. Wednesday, we have a lot of
content and coaching day.
Content and coaching. And so we have all of our calls with all of our students. And then afterwards, we go film all the content that we're going to need for that week. So we've kind of compartmentalized each day.
And Fridays for golf.
That's right.
I like that. I love
Gotta
Fridays.
have fun. Work hard, play hard.
So I like that approach actually, day blocking. It's a good thought. Maybe we would look into that. It's a good implementation. So there's a question going on like, it's okay, how many flips you're doing, we know that. Uh, are you working with the same contractor on multiple flips? How that relationship builds up? Or you have different rates on different projects?
Yeah, so we only hire licensed and insured general contractors. So we hire one company that has multiple subcontractors underneath them. And we have 3 to 4 general contractors at any given time. And some are better at certain products than others. There's some general contractors who are great for cookie cutter 2,500 square foot or less flips that we wouldn't quite put their team on a $5 million luxury product. So some are better than others. There's some that are less expensive, but they're slower. So we know, okay, this is a tight deal. We need to stay within a budget. This person's a slower contractor. It's going to take him another 3 to 4 weeks over the more expensive contractor, but he's the only guy that fits the budget. So we have 3 or 4 that have their pros and cons to each business model.
Yeah.
So when we look at a deal, that's what we're thinking about is who's going to be the best person for this deal. We're looking at the market. We're looking at timelines. We're looking at, the deal structure. Can we get the expensive fast contractor in there on this tight budget? So it's moving them around, but we have 3 to 4 at any given time working on 20 to 25 projects at any given time.
Okay, that's a key strategy. Basically, moreover, you always have a backup if somebody falls through or whatever.
And not all your eggs are in one basket.
Right. And, like we said, you really do figure out how they operate. And that's something that we teach. So, it's so imperative to understand within your business model of construction is if you're relying on one contractor for all of your properties, you're just going to end up with frustrations, losses, mistakes being made, because not every contractor is good at the same thing.
Right.
Definitely. So that's a good thought. So let's say now one project is ready by a contractor. Do you have any review protocol? You guys go there, visit it, because it's a luxury flip, it's like 1 million, 1.5 or 2. We don't want to take a chance when the buyers start coming in. So what is your process on that?
Yeah. So going back
Detailed.
to all the things that you can control, right? So as soon as the property is done, our construction manager says they're done with their work. He goes in there and using his experience, he finds any things that just may have been overlooked or may have been done slightly incorrect. And so it's called blue taping. He goes through and puts this blue painter's tape on the wall wherever he finds a paint drip or a missing socket, missing outlet, whatever it is, he'll blue tape the house. So that's his own internal quality control. Then we also hire a home inspector, just like the buyer is going to do. So we do that internally.
Wow.
We have an inspection
That's
done.
nice.
And then based on that report, our construction manager goes back to the contractor and says, hey, these things either weren't done correctly or there's a repair that we didn't catch that we need to do. And so all of that makes the product the best it can possibly be prior to hitting the market. And all of that does is makes the buyer's experience that much smoother.
And it costs us less money because you'll get a buyer to perform an inspection on the roof, and there may be only 5 cracked roof tiles on the roof. But if a roofer goes out there and looks at it because of the inspection report, what are they going to say? Well, I make a lot more money as a roofer replacing a roof versus replacing 5 cracked tiles. So you can avoid these costly, and then once that roofer goes back to the buyer and goes, this roof's kind of old, I suggest you replace the roof. It's going to cost $15,000. Guess what the buyer's going to do?
They want a new roof.
They want a new roof versus handling some cracked roof tiles from an inspection report for $600 saves you all the aggravation that's unnecessary with the buyers on the back end.
Yeah.
One thing we also do is we send really deep cleaners through all of our properties. So they do a really nice deep cleaning, and we also stage all of our properties. We have a stager that we've met here in town. We've been staging all of our properties from $50,000 condos up to the multi-million-dollar homes. No matter what it is, we stage it for the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And we do it for a reason. We've measured that since staging properties, they sell faster and they sell for more dollars. So that's very important to us.
That's a very valid thing, right? So I think we're just a couple of minutes into this, right? So before we end, so there's a question, right? Are you facing any supply chain issues as of now in luxury flips?
Oh, yeah. So we're facing supply chain issues for large items and for small items and things that you wouldn't normally think about. So such as baseboards, MDF baseboards. It's forever has been the easiest thing you could possibly buy for a flip. You could go to 10 different suppliers here in town. They always have what you need, not a problem. Weirdly enough, that happens to be one of the hardest items for us to find in town, and it can take a month for that order to come in.
I also take credit for starting the shiplap fireplace walls, and now you can't find any shiplap in town because everyone's doing shiplap and using shiplap on their flips. So it's very hard to find stuff like this that is a very cost-effective way to over upgrade the homes. A shiplap fireplace wall looks beautiful in a home, but it only costs $1,500 to $2,000 to do it. So it's that wow factor that's very cost effective. So supply chain issues on stuff like this really affects our ability to stay within budget on the home.
But the way we're coping with it is we deliver a full material package to the contractor as soon as they start. And it's really up to them. If there's certain things that they go and search for that are going to be too long, we have to have backup items for them. And it's on them to make sure they order everything with enough lead time. So where maybe a year ago, they might used to order a kitchen faucet a week before they needed it. Now they may have to order it a month before they need it. But a lot of that we do push on to the contractors since they order and facilitate all the materials as well.
Definitely. So on your typical flips, you're supplying the material, contractor is just the labor part, they handle it. Is it like
We
that
don't
or
actually
like
supply
different?
the material. We just supply the choices. And so the budget
Okay.
that we get back from the contractor is for labor and install and purchasing of all the materials. So we'll tell them everything we want them to go
Yeah.
order and install.
We're hands off. No
Yeah.
material pickup or drop
That's
off
good.
or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise the leftover waste and you need a warehousing to
Ugh.
store it. It's like it increases the
And then
like
they're
the
waiting on you because did you deliver that today or did that thing? And now all of a sudden you're a logistics manager.
Right.
We have enough going on. We don't need to be that.
We're trying to scale,
definitely.
and that's a way to slow your
No,
business down.
definitely. I like that approach, right? So to end with, I think you are also speaking on one of the conference that is Ryan Pineda hosting it. Like it's in September, I know.
It is. Yes, the last week of September. It's the Future Flipper Quarterly Mastermind. It's going to be held
Okay.
August, September 27th, 28th, 29th,
26, 27, 28.
26th to the 28th. It's the last week
Okay.
of September. It's here in Vegas at the Mandalay Bay. I believe tickets may be completely sold out.
I think they sold like 520 out of 500 tickets, so they oversold the event, which is crazy.
It's going to be a fantastic event, though. There's going to be over 500 people there in attendance. Yeah. Some very, very well-known and famous investors and speakers that we're going to be sharing a stage with. We're very excited to do that, and we're going to treat that as our official launch of our bootcamp educational product.
We are excited about that. Definitely would love to meet in person. We'll be there in October. We have a conference happening. I think the same hotel will plan it up. But such a wonderful experience talking to you. I think we can talk the whole day about it. Already we have already crossed the time. I know it's such an educating experience for us, for all the people listening. I can see true welcome, true excitement from all the Canadian people watching you, even from States whatsoever. Thank you. Any last thoughts you want to share to our audience based on your experience? You look quite young, actually, based on your experience. That's amazing. Any last thoughts?
You know, I was just thinking throughout this, you've asked us some wonderful questions. I'd love to return the favor, have you on and be able to interview you and share your experience and your knowledge with all of our viewers as well. So if you're open to that, we'd love to plan for it.
Definitely love to do that, and I would love to do in person. In fact, when we are in Vegas,
we can
talk. Yeah, I would love to see, and I would love to have those tours, the luxury flip. I'm always excited about that, right? So, any other thoughts, Jason, Landon, right? So,
yeah, just if there's any viewers out there that want to get in touch with us, our Instagram, TikTok, YouTube is at the Boeckle Brothers, spelled just like it is on the screen in front of you. Guys, feel free to reach out to us. We're on there all day, every day. We're an open book. We love to help people. We're transparent with our business model. We're doing it every day. Reach out to us if you have any questions that you have for us.
Yeah, and including
definitely.
YouTube, I can see a lot of the comments are coming from YouTube as well. So please check out our channel. A lot of topics that we may have touched on today, we go further in depth with some of our videos. So definitely check them out.
Yes, these guys are very hot on all social media platforms, YouTube, you mean TikTok, Instagram. So definitely follow Boeckle Brothers, Jesse and Landon, the key things. So, okay, thank you guys. Thanks once again from all of our community. Love you from Canada. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
your time.
Thank you.